Hello everyone and welcome back to another Anything Joe's Unboxing. My name is Greg Engel and I'll be your unboxer today. Today we're taking a look at maybe the most lore-heavy G.I. Joe outfit to date. It's Cobra Commander V3, aka Battle Armor Cobra Commander. Depending on how you followed G.I. Joe throughout the years, there's many different people that could be underneath the helmet of this particular suit of armor. So let's take a look at which version fits Battle Armor Cobra Commander best and compare them to some other Battle Armor Cobra Commanders, and that's a mouthful, of the past. Battle Armor Cobra Commander has the same style packaging as all the classified figures we've seen recently, so it's basically business as usual on the front. We can see that he is number 168, and he has some pretty great traditional style art showing his gun, the pointing finger, everything that we're going to see inside the box. The poses in action are basically the same thing that we just looked at in the art. We can see the iguana in the backpack and a nice little Dow piece. Legal crap. Symbols, reused art, QR code. Bottom, same, just legal junk. Enough said, let's open him up. Battle Armor Cobra Commander comes out of the box with his Was Once a Man eyes, the Deke Universe version, which we'll discuss more here in just a minute. He's got a standard ball joint, and buddy, it is pretty limited mobility, let me tell you. Look at that. It is not moving much at all. So just be aware that he's not going to be looking at much, or he's going to have to pivot to do so. The Cobra logo is like actually part of the mold, and it's painted extremely well. The eyes are great. The eyes have been great lately. The hose is already attached and does not look like it comes out, which is a bonus. Grooves around the side. That all looks good. I don't love that. That, or I guess where the mouthpiece attaches, is a bit of an oversight, but I guess he ain't looking any. Oh, okay. So we got a little bit of pivot this way, but there's no back and forth at all. There's no up and down, just so you're aware. Standard butterflies here. There's a bicep cut, pretty well hidden. The armor. Double pinless for your satisfaction. Looks like these molded shoulder pieces are there. You can see that they're attached separately, but they are going to limit how much you can get away with there. Torso piece on this Cobra Commander is pretty standard. All of this is, just about what you would expect. I think this blue is probably a little darker than the original. I'm a big colors guy. And I mean, this silver should have been like a actual reflective silver, in my opinion. It should have actually looked metallic. But, whatever. So we've got the blue vest and the black undershirt. Here's the shoulder guards, the little armor pieces here, matching cuffs, standard handpiece. Obviously torso. We'll talk a little bit about the design on this, which I think has changed over the years when we compare them. I have no real issues with this. Cool Cobra logo belt buckle. Very, very small detail. Really enjoy that. We've got the hose that goes around to the back. I'm not sure what that's connecting. I don't know my anatomy well enough, but it doesn't seem like that would be useful in any way. I guess it just reroutes power. Codpiece, yay, steak. Here's our, just our RoboCop legs, basically just all armored up and ready to go. Kneecaps. This is not attached. It's actually like part of the belt, so it will move out of the way. Check our knees. These are getting better bendability, and I'm really going to have to give them credit on that. I find it very irksome that people are just like, boil it right out of the box. But these are getting much better, so shout out to whoever is in charge of that, because I really like to see it. Those are obviously double pinless bent as well. We've got our boot cut. We've got our wiggles. Pretty solid figure. Not a ton of stuff to see. I mean, there's not a lot to discuss here, right? It's just a suit of armor. I do really like the added texturing on the pants here, and the way this material is significantly different than the metal. I think that's all really nice. Let's look at his accessory set. Cobra Commander comes with one interchangeable head with human eyes, in case you would prefer a Fred 7 variation, or if you're familiar with the Deke cartoon, this is what it looks like as soon as he puts it on for some reason. He's only got lizard eyes, and right up until he puts the helmet on, so we're even bending the reality of the Deke series at this time.
One of my uniforms! Copperhead, this is exactly the resourcefulness I need in my first commanding officer of the Python Patrol.
I am honored, sire.
But Cobra Commander, Destro placed me in command of the hovercraft force, not Copperhead.
Oh, you're a favorite of Destro's.
He has 3 interchangeable hands, a fist, a pointer, and his other fist. He only knows how to point with one hand. And then, of course, the hand that came with it. Here's his traditional, like, blaster gun. I'm not familiar if this is a real gun or what it would be called. If you know, please leave a comment, because I'm always interested in that stuff. But I can say that it's very faithful to the V1 gun. It's just been updated a bit. This is his, like, life support system. It's the thing that helps him get power and you know, all the Iron Man crap that it supposedly does that nobody's ever really fleshed out. So often confused as a jetpack. Well, even I, as a kid playing with it, thought that's what it was intended to be, but it's listed as a life support system, so I have to assume that's what it is. And then, of course, here's Serpentor. This is the ultimate fate of Serpentor in the Deke cartoon. When Cobra Commander returns, he uses the Python Patrol machine, I think, on him, and it turns him into this little iguana guy.
Start up the Pythonizing ray immediately!
No, you don't know what you're doing.
Quite the contrary. I think it is time you had a demonstration of my new Pythonizing technique. So far, I have been fusing snakes with vehicles. But to join you to either would be a waste of both. So instead, I will join you with Norgahard's pet iguana.
No, you wouldn't dare.
And though the change will be temporary, I can assure you that even when you change back into human form,
You'll never lose your taste for flies. No!
too late, Serpentor! The process has already begun! Bravissimo! And so handsome! You have been watching Destro?
Great addition. There's some mobility here with the back legs, just like regular, circular turn joints. No flexibility here with the head or the tail, other than just being kind of rubbery. But still a great little addition. Really well detailed, like lots of great color, texture, paint, etc. A nice little bonus. Let's take a look at him all geared up. I decided to put his human eyes on because, as I already stated, even in the Deke cartoon, he has human eyes once he puts his helmet on, so he's not really seen in any other way. His gun does fit in his holster perfectly, but I chose to put it in his hand, and then I chose the fist for the other hand. This is kind of an oddity because I don't typically display duplicate characters. I only have one Cobra Commander in my cabinet, but I opened this one because I wanted to interact with him first of all. And I thought, well, maybe I'll just put him in there as Fred 7, notoriously the imposter that pretends to be Cobra Commander in this outfit. The original designer of this outfit is Fred 7 in the comic. In the cartoon, Copperhead finds the suit in one of his skids, and Cobra Commander's like, oh yeah, that's one of my outfits, even though you guys have never seen it ever before. So, whatever. Here's classified Cobra Commander, all geared up now. And here's his vintage counterpart. This Cobra Commander of mine is very, very weathered, which I think speaks to what a great figure he was. His logo is completely worn off on mine. You can see what I was talking about with the blue being a little bit lighter. I don't really have an issue with it. I would have been fine with it either way. In terms of overall comparison, you can see that the design on the torso has changed not significantly, but they've like taken some of the rounding out of it. This kind of has like almost an eagle vibe, and they've made it look much more armored. Also down here you can see the segmentation on the legs, and they've kind of removed that as well. I don't really have an issue with either one of those things. Everything else matches up really, really well, so I think it's solid. This Cobra Commander does have his backpack on upside down as a nod to the fact that as a kid I intended it to be a jetpack. I'm in no way ashamed of how weathered that Cobra Commander is. I like that you can tell which toys I liked the most as a kid. Here's the modern Cobra Commander, which actually, in terms of the evolution of the character, I guess is where we first saw the dark blue introduced. The eagle torso design is still here, but yes, over the years it looks like we've seen a little bit of a shift of the overall design, but the metrics are still there. You know, this is just kind of like the evolution of it. His backpack was much larger for this figure compared to the other ones, and even by this scale, it doesn't really match up. This figure's backpack is kind of in between the scale on these two, in my opinion. So, an interesting look. Obviously, a lot of you will have very differing feelings on this figure. You either probably grew up with this Cobra Commander on the cartoon and in the comic, and so you're very familiar with him, much like Snake has before, or you dismissed him altogether. There aren't a lot of people beyond this Cobra Commander, I think, that have a specific design. There's no like, it's V1, V2, or V3. It's pretty much all there is. But I'm kind of a unique bird because even though I started collecting G.I. Joes very early on, in like 83 or 84, I continued to collect the line well into the 90s. So I was very familiar with this Cobra Commander, and as we just saw, I used them all the time. There's another modern Cobra Commander that I looked for, and when I finally found it, it was with my daughter's toys because she had picked it up to play with it, which again I think speaks to what an interestingly designed figure he really is, even if you're not using him as Cobra Commander. He just looks awesome. So for me, this is a great pickup. Again, it's really rare for me to open up a figure that I have a version of already displayed, and so, but I think this was an exception worth making. Really, really happy with this figure. Even just now, I'm kind of goofing off with him while I'm talking, because that's my hyperactivity. The joints are like loosening up a lot just as I'm playing with them, and you know that's something I address a lot. So yeah, really, really happy with this figure. I give it a high recommendation. Thanks so much for watching, and we look forward to talking to you on our next review, where anything's available for discussion here on Anything Joes.